I'm deaf. Straight up. And I've come for you, Puss in Boots.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 kids movies that weren't afraid to treat their audience like adults.
Remember the bad guys on those shows you used to watch on Saturday mornings? Well, these guys are not like those guys. They won't exercise restraint because you're children.
For this list, we're looking at the most mature films that have a special appeal to young audiences. These flicks tell stories with lots of nuance and don't shy away from difficult topics. Which of our picks is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Holes. The cinematic adaptation of Louis Sachar's novel depicts teenage boys in the American incarceration system, a reality that's not often explored in children's media.
You take a bad boy, make him dig holes all day in the hot sun, and it turns him into a good boy. That's our philosophy here at Camp Green Lake.
It mainly follows Stanley Yelnats, whose story includes a wrongful conviction, a detention camp, and a corrupt warden. The film also incorporates difficult themes through its flashbacks, with the expectation that its audiences will understand their nuances and consequences.
Give me a kiss. Kiss the onion picker.
You're drunk!
I always get drunk before hanging.
One of the storylines concerns the history of systemic racism in America and involves a hate crime. Another shows the origin of the curse on Stanley's house, which could be representative of generational trauma.
You are here on account of one person. You know who that person is?
Yeah. My no good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather, that's who it is.
Number 9. The Secret of Nim. Don Bluth's directorial debut is based on a children's novel by Robert C. O'Brien and concerns many complicated issues.
Why did he never tell me about any of you? Why?
To answer that, I must tell you about Nim and our plan.
Although it has a somewhat fantastical premise, it also tackles realistic topics like animal experimentation, single parenthood, and the ethics of need-based theft. There's a decent amount of violence and death in the story, which could be considered too scary for younger viewers.
I've learned this much. Take what you can, when you can. Then you've learned nothing.
Despite its dark narrative and visuals, the animated film is generally praised by both critics and general audiences. Watching this film as a child might have given us nightmares, but it was so worth it.
I don't understand, but I will do as you say.
It is night. I must go.
Number 8. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Although adults weren't the main target audience for this DreamWorks sequel, the quality of its narrative and animation have garnered the praise and attention of older viewers.
I did get my wish. Everything is just right.
The film's premise concerns a topic that's inherently more serious, that being the last of Puss's 9 lives. Over the course of the story, the adventurous cat confronts his own mortality and will to live, not to mention the incarnation of death.
I know I can never defeat you, Lobo, but I will never stop fighting for this life.
The movie not only has a surprisingly deep story, but also impressive visuals. It differs from previous installments of the Shrek franchise by using a more painterly animation style. Beautiful and interesting, there is a lot for adults to appreciate in this flick that might go over little ones' heads.
You know we will meet again, right?
Sí, hasta la muerte.
Number 7. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This animated film surprisingly holds its own among the plethora of live-action PG-13 rated Spider-Man movies already out there.
When do I know I'm Spider-Man?
You won't. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
It makes this list for 2 reasons. It has top-tier animation and it incorporates death. When it comes to the visuals, they are styled to resemble a cartoon strip. It references the character's comic book origins, which is something adult viewers can appreciate. As for its mature theme, death affects many of the characters in this story.
We've all been there. You know, for me, it was my Uncle Ben.
For me, it was my Uncle Benjamin.
For me, it was my father.
For me, it was my best friend.
The main antagonist is motivated by the grief of losing his family, and Peter Parker's murder plays a crucial role. While many recent children's films have tackled the topic of death with respect and nuance, this one does it especially well.
Friends?
Friends.
Number 6. WALL-E. This Pixar-produced animated feature does a great job of tackling the issue of climate change in an entertaining and nuanced way. Compared to Bill Croyer's 1992 film Ferngully: The Last Rainforest, which blatantly addresses environmental destruction, WALL-E's dystopian story takes a more obscure approach.
And do not return to Earth. Repeat, do not return to Earth. Let's get the heck out of here.
Instead of depicting the beginning of a planetary crisis, it imagines a world already deemed uninhabitable. Although it has a hopeful message, the film's premise is quite pessimistic, presenting the planet as a garbage-filled wasteland and the human race as helpless and obese. It may be a children's film, but its central concern about Earth's environmental future is something that adults are typically more invested in.
Wouldn't you know, rising toxicity levels have made life unsustainable on Earth.
Number 5. Spirited Away. Works by the Japanese director Hayao Miyazaki usually have compelling narratives with some difficult themes. War often plays a role in his films, like it does in Howl's Moving Castle, but our pick, Spirited Away, leans more on the fantastical side.
Well, come in. I said come in.
It centers on a brave and smart young protagonist as she navigates her way through the spirit realm. Although it was created by Miyazaki for 10-year-old girls, the story is actually quite mature.
I can't believe I forgot my name. She almost took it from me.
If you completely forget it, you'll never find your way home. I've tried everything to remember mine.
It includes philosophical ideas, scary imagery, and high emotional stakes, as well as critiques of modern society, referencing pollution, consumerism, and greed. Overall, it is a sophisticated film with beautiful imagery.
So, you were the one who carried me back into shallow water. You saved me. I knew you were good.
Number 4. Stand By Me. Like many movies from the 80s, this film depicts kids on a treacherous and unchaperoned adventure.
We'll all tell our folks we're tenting out in your backfield. You tell your folks you're sleeping over at Teddy's. Then we say we're going over to the drag races the next day. We're rock solid till dinner tomorrow night.
Man, that's a plan and a half.
The coming-of-age tale, directed by Rob Reiner, based on Stephen King's novella The Body, follows a group of boys on a mission to discover a dead body. On the way, they work through their own emotional baggage and have a couple of dangerous encounters.
You're not taking him. Nobody's taking him.
Although they are children, the main characters have agency and operate independently of parents. They are treated like adults in many ways, as are the younger viewers watching them on screen. Through the eyes of Gordy and his pals, kids in the audience can grapple with tough topics like death and abuse.
We'd only been gone 2 days, but somehow the town seemed different. Smaller.
Number 3. Coco. This film's approach to life and death also concerns lineage and legacy.
I thought at least one day I'd see her here. Give her the biggest hug. But she's the last person who remembers me. The moment she's gone from the living world,
you disappear.
It takes place on the Day of the Dead, so themes like culture and tradition are also incorporated. These topics are taken seriously in the film, which still manages to be whimsical and fun.
2 seconds and you already break your promise.
This isn't fair. It's my life. You already had yours.
Coco follows the 12-year-old protagonist on an accidental journey to the land of the dead. There, he discovers his ancestral history and the importance of keeping a loved one's memory alive. While the story is cute for children, its generational approach speaks to older audience members. Number 2. Inside Out.
Why are you crying? It's just really the opposite of what we're going for here.
Crying helps me slow down and obsess over the weight of life's problems.
This Pixar flick validates children's feelings in a way that's not common in the media. It demonstrates how emotions are complicated and often mixed together, both for children and adults.
Hey, what gives? What? Hey, Sadness, you touched a memory? We talked about this.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
While it doesn't wrestle with matters of life and death like many of the other films on our list, it does approach issues important to younger people with unprecedented respect and care. For example, one of the film's most impactful moments relates to the main protagonist's childhood imaginary friend Bing Bong. It treats the kids in the audience as adults by giving nuanced narrative value to the things that are important to them.
Hey, I'm liking this new view.
Friendship Island is expanded. Glad they finally opened that friendly argument section.
I like Tragic Vampire Romance Island.
Fashion Island? Everyone shut up.
Boy Band Island. Hope that's just a phase.
Say what you want. I think it's all beautiful.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Up. Carl and Ellie's montage makes us cry every time. School of Rock. Jack Black's performance elevates this family film.
New schedule. 8:15 to 10, rock history. 10 to 11, rock appreciation and theory. And then band practice till the end of the day.
What about math?
No, not important.
Zootopia, an animated take on segregation.
Look, you probably can't read, Fox, but the sign says, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, so beat it."
The Iron Giant. The titular robot is more than just a weapon for mass destruction.
You're made of metal, but you have feelings, and you think about things, and that means you have a soul, and souls don't die.
The Toy Story franchise. Children's relationships with their toys are taken seriously in this series.
Thanks, guys.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This celebrated film is narratively heavy and visually dark. It doesn't shy away from hard topics the way other kids' movies might.
I wrote a lot that night. I had so much to say. Not about my own life, for a change, but about imperfect fathers and imperfect sons, and about loss and love.
Alongside its slapstick humor and endearing songs, it depicts war, violence, and grief. Death plays an important role throughout the film. It burdens Geppetto and follows Pinocchio, whose immortality separates him from, quote, real boys.
The one thing that makes human life precious and meaningful, you see, is how brief it is.
Oh.
It wasn't that surprising when the film won Best Animated Motion Picture at the 2023 Golden Globes. In his acceptance speech, Guillermo del Toro explained his view on animation as an art form.
It's been a great year for cinema. Cinema of all sizes, ambitions, big swings, intimate movies, and therefore it's been a great year for animation, because animation is cinema.
As for the movie, he said it wasn't made for kids, although they are invited to watch.
Will that do?
That will do.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.